Hi, um, I'm going to be talking about the Sergeant's Miniatures game today. I want to talk about few different items. Um, First, I'm going to talk a little bit about why I was drawn to the game and the decision making and kind of my background, why I was drawn to it in the first place. The second thing is I'll talk about acquiring the game, the cost, which is a bit high, and then third, I'm going to open up my the game. I haven't played it yet. Just for those who are interested in a review, in an in-depth review, that's probably not coming since I haven't played it. Anyway, as far as getting into the decisions of why I was interested in the game, I've always looked for a skirmish level World War II game that was exciting and fun to play. And I feel like even in all of Board Game Geek and all of its options, I've only found a few that's interested me. Soldiers is a game by Butterfield, which I own, and I've read the rules, and it is a good game, I'll say. There's a lot of charts and a lot of tables, and for me to teach one of the people in my gaming group how to play that, it would be a few hours to just get the rules straight before we would play a game. And maybe that's true with a lot of war games. So there's that game. There's also other, there's Fields of Fire, a solitaire game. But really, I not only am I interested in the topic of skirmish level, man-on-man, man-to-man level warfare. I feel like another draw is to find a game that I can bring people in who wouldn't normally be interested in wargaming. I have a history of playing Squad Leader, from probably 10, 15 years ago. I started playing that, and that is a real in-depth game, obviously, if you haven't played it before. And it takes, a long time to learn the rules. And I love Squad Leader. I think it's a fine game, but recently, in the last 10 years or so, games have come out that the ease of play makes them more likely for me to play them, more likely for me to convince somebody to invest time. I just can't imagine in this, for me in my life right now, to try to convince somebody to learn Squad Leader and then to play those scenarios. I think I'm basically stuck with those types of games with existing gaming partners who already know the rules. Games like Squad Leader, or games like Combat Commander, excuse me, I prefer. I think that they are innovative. They capture, I don't even want to say that they're simpler. They capture the feel. They have a lot of the same tactical decisions that you need to make, but it's accessible, and you can play a game in an hour, and I can teach somebody in probably that same time. And so games like that have really drawn to me lately. Commands and Colors Ancients, for example, which is a game I didn't think I would enjoy. I played Battle Cry, and it was okay, but it turns out it was a game that I could get people to play. Basically, every time my little brother comes down from college, we'll play a game or two or three because it's a simple game, and it makes you think. And I guess that's really what you're looking for in a war game. Anyway, so kind of my decision making in purchasing the Sergeant's Miniatures game is, like I said, I have an interest in skirmish level, and this probably stems from my watching reruns of Combat with my dad and brothers and sisters. I've always just been kind of enamored with the idea of, this man is armed with an M1, this man has a Tommy gun, this man has a BAR, and we're going to use a certain set of tactics to take a hill or to take a farmhouse or whatever it is. I think that really has a big appeal to me because personalities are important, and weaponry is important, and tactics are important at the fundamental basic level. So while games like Combat Commander and Squad Leader are at a higher view, since that is the case, it's difficult to know about get to know their personalities. Because it's just not at that level. And so when I came across SMG, I was excited by the advertisements saying that it's individual and each soldier is unique. That's an appeal to me. I will say that I had a concern. Maybe like a couple years ago, I looked into it, and eventually, this is before I got into games like Combat Commander and Commands and Colors. But I had a concern that I was going to buy it, I was thinking about it, but I thought, oh man, with these cards, it's just going to be too simple, and it looks to be just like a chance situation where, I play this card and you play that card, and then, there's no real tactics being played and no historical tactics being revealed. And, looking further, and I've probably read every forum discussion, because the game is so expensive, I really wanted to do my homework. And I don't think that's going to be the case. Whether or not real World War II tactics are going to be evident in gameplay, I'm still not convinced about that. But I do think that it is a game of strategy. And it is a game that, by and large, if you use, if you think things through and consider your hand, your hand of cards, that you can win the game through skill set, and that is important to me. I would like to see some World War II tactics coming through, suppressing fire, movement teams, or whatever. And I'm no great historian on those things, but I think that would be cool if that turns out to be the case. I'm not convinced that it is, but who knows. So the second thing I want to talk about is price, and this game is really expensive, and I'm doing this all alone in my house, I'm embarrassed actually of how much the game costs. I know that some people have a lot more money to spend on these types of things, and I guess I do have the money, but it's just whether or not it's a prudent purchase or not. There's a lot more things that I probably should buy. You're looking at about $100 for the base game, and all of the reviews and commentary on Board Game Geek say that the game really comes alive when you get the Road to Carentan, and so that's I think $40, $60, something in that range. And then I've also read that you need additional men to make it exciting too. So I've taken everybody's word for it, and I went ahead and bought the gun bundle, which is a relatively new addition to the Lost Battalion Games website, and it's $250, which is just, I'm still, like I said, I still feel kind of sick about it, but it's $250, and you get the base set. You get the expansion, and then you get 5 additional men, rounding out basically 2 squads of 10, including the men that come, the units that come with the base game, and that comes with 2 leaders, and then also you get 2 tactics modules, one for the Germans, one for the Americans. And so altogether, I think it ends up saving you probably $30 or $40 going the bundle route rather than buying all of those things separately. I'll have to do my math on that. But, it's not substantial. But if you are planning on getting into it, I think it's probably worthwhile. Now, another thing about the price. So I live in Utah, and I prefer to support my local game store. I'm friends with the owner, and it's a game I think that potentially, because it seems a bit simple, it's a game that potentially I could expand in my gaming group, and I could get more and more people into wargaming generally through this game, I felt that it was important